get more energy.
And this is the time of year, if you go down to 28th Street and walk down the Flower Market, which is between 6th and 7th Avenue, thousands of sunflowers you see. It's a good thing to just walk down to the Flower Market any morning, especially Wednesdays are good mornings to walk down because that's when a fresh shipment of flowers have just arrived.
Yeah. Well, actually, every day, flowers arrive every day from somewhere in the world. From California, they arrive, their shipments every day. From Holland, they ship 4 times a week. New Zealand, twice a week. France, twice a week. Italy. From Africa, they ship once a week. A lot of beautiful flowers also come from Zimbabwe. And you would think, why from Zimbabwe? Actually, it was South Africa. But to avoid the embargo and the boycott on trading with South Africa, they moved the farms right across the border and said, okay, they come from Zimbabwe. It smells amazing, this. The scent is incredible.
I'm putting in periwinkle now, aren't I?
It's Tweedia.
Tweedia.
Yeah. It's a tricky flower. It's beautiful. It's a true blue. It's
a little sappy.
Yeah, it has milk sap in. I remember, Chris, about a year ago, you used euphorbia once, and the next day, Chris came in the wholesale, and it looked like he was beaten up. His eyes were all swollen up, and what happened, the euphorbia has a milky sapin, and it's toxic. So when you touch it, or even rub it on your skin, some people are very, very allergic, and your eyes swell up, you get a rash, and it's not pretty. I've been shocked many times over the years by people coming in the morning and looking terrible.
So that was the first time ever I had a reaction to a flower.
I've never had it, thank God. A little more lilac. As I see, it's not very symmetrical. There we go.
One thing I do want to say is that it's wonderful to be retired. I really recommend it to everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
I got my first check last Wednesday, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I guess I still have a couple of years to go, Chris.
You're only 30.
That's true. It's so much fun working with flowers. I don't have to sit behind a desk all day long, crunch numbers, or be in a financial institution. I couldn't do that. That's not my character. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of labor, what people tend to forget. You have to condition the flowers, arrange them, order them, and if people hire me for their event, they count on me to be there. And it's a huge responsibility. Since you deal with Mother Nature, there's a lot that can go wrong.
The reason that flowers are expensive too, because any florist or potty planter, the waste is a lot. If you buy and you don't use everything, or you wait for customers to come in, a lot of it just doesn't survive. Okay. So you're dealing with a living product that only has about 3 days lifespan. So if you don't sell it, then you have to eat it.
All right, Chris, I think this one is done too. Thank you.
Your hand bouquet.
Make a bouquet? Okay.
Remco is known for the Dutch style of flower arranging, which is the hand bouquet.
Hand-tied bouquet, yeah. In Holland, in the flower shops, you don't buy your flowers in a vase already made. Most people have nice vases at their house. So what they do, they just buy a bouquet and the florist wraps it up. They come home, they cut the stems and put it in their nicer vase. I'm sure many of you have all these thin glass, art-shaped vases at home that you've gotten as gifts or have bought. So now I'll show you a technique which is a Biedermeier style, and it's a Dutch bouquet. And when I used to work in my father's flower shop, I used to make approximately 40, 50 bouquets on a day. A customer would come in, the flowers would be all separated by color and by variety, and then the customer would say, I have a vase about this tall, the opening is this big, I like those flowers, and then I would make a bouquet as while they were talking with me. It would take about 10 minutes.
Now explain that rose you have there also.
Oh, this is amazing. Now, this is basically a freak of nature. It is a black rose, well, actually dark red, and it has gold stripes. Years ago, about 6 years ago, when I was working at the flower wholesale here in New York, I remember a New York party planner coming to me, and there was only one of these in a whole bundle of red roses. And he said, oh, Remco, no, I don't want those red roses, I want the one with the stripes. And I need about 2,000 of them for a party I'm having. I said, are you crazy? You know, do you think in Holland that the grower is going to pick out all these mutants? And, you know, he had no idea. So I never expected for somebody to catch on to it and actually create these roses. It's a virus that the rose has, and now the hybridizers, they bring the virus into the rose on purpose. So they've created this one, which is an abracadabra. It's a very appropriate name. You have a rose that's more yellow with red stripes. It's called Simsalabim. This is called Hocus Pocus. So you have all the magical names. Okay. I'm talking too much and not working, so can't do two things at the same time. So
Yeah,
let me
but you're
get started here, Chris.
much younger than I am.
So what I'm doing now, I start with woody stems in my hand, just to create a bit of a base. And then I'm adding the pretty flowers to it. Okay.
Do you use the ranunculus also?
Sure. These are amazing too. A new
Those
variety.
are all ranunculus.
These come from France. And I can tell by the green rubber band, if you're wondering why. France always uses green rubber bands.
See, with this centerpiece now, wherever I put a flower, it's staying right in place. I love to tell this little story about when I used to work at Chrysalis and Coster on 63rd Madison in I guess it was 1962 to 1970, before I got to the museum here. I had a customer who would want me to do her whole apartment, all the bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms. Okay. And there were many arrangements like this here. And one day I forgot my clippers and knife up there, so I went back a few hours later through the service elevator, through the service quarters, and she was in the den, and she had this centerpiece, and she was shaking it like this. And she didn't know I was behind her, and I said, Eleanor, you know, what are you doing? She goes, well, I tell the people I do the flowers, so by me shaking them a little bit, they get a little bit off whack. And
It's
so
amazing.
for years, I did the same thing. When I finished the jobs up there, I used to shake everything, and she was very, very happy. And it reminds me also, when I was doing a segment with Martha Stewart a few years ago, we were making this big arrangement of dahlias, and of course, she has to do some things too. She just can't watch you. So we were both working together, and I was standing here putting in the pink dahlias, and she was putting in the red dahlias in this big container. And automatically, she put a flower here, and we were working on Lazy Susan. Wherever the flower ended up, I would just automatically take it out and just rearrange it. And this lasted for about